Hey guys, welcome to an Unreal Engine tutorial. We're using version 5.7 today for our interactable system. I'm showcasing it using one of my own personal projects here. So right now the player can walk up to different objects in the world and interact with them using the same system. For example, the seed here, when the player presses the interact key, it triggers build mode for us to place. Over here we've got an NPC character using the same system, and when we interact we can trigger whatever behaviour we want. In this case, the NPC starts a conversation and gives us a seed. And the nice part is that any actor can implement the same interface system. So let's jump right into it. When you open up the engine, this is what you'll see. We just want to come to the left here, new project. We're going to be using the first person template, also works for third, but for this example, we're going to stick with the first one. We can leave all these settings to default, and you can name your project here. You press create. I've created a project already to save some time. When you open it up, this is what you'll see. So if you press play, which is this little green arrow here, you'll be able to move about and jump. So we're going to add some objects for our player to interact with. If we come to the content drawer in the bottom left, and you'll start here. Just go make your way through the folders. We want to go to first person, blueprints. We've got our character, we've got a controller, we've got a game mode, and our camera manager. We need to open up our character, and we can come back here. If we come and right click in the folder, we can add blueprints, our interface. So this will allow us to communicate from our character to the objects in the world. So I'm going to do int for interface. Interactable. You don't have to use the same naming convention. This is what I find the easiest. So we double click that to open it up. We have our function here. We can rename it f_interact. And again, f is for function. So it just makes it a little bit easier to understand when you have a lot of code. I like to add the input of a character, so I know what player is doing what. So our PP first person character, object reference. These are variables, so we've got a lot to choose from, but the variable we need is our first person character. And I'll just rename this input to player. We can compile that. That's pretty much done for the time being. And we can come to our first person character, right click on the event graph where our code takes place. We can type in the E key, scroll down, E. So this is a event. So when we press this button, code will fire. To make sure this works, we can do a print string, which is a very useful tool for debugging. If we play our game and press E, you'll see in the top left, hello. So we know that this E key is firing this code. So from here, we could do a line trace by channel, which will allow us to create a line from one point to an endpoint. And if anything is between that line that we can interact with, it will return that. So our start point will be the first person camera, and we want to get location, our world location, and this will bring us back a 3D pointing space. And that'll be our start point. We get our camera's forward vector, so it's the direction the camera is looking in, and we can do a bit of math here. We want to multiply this, just use this little key here, multiply, and if you right click this input, you can change it to a float. So we're going to do 250. What is this doing is getting the direction that we're looking at and adding 250 units of measurement. I'm not quite sure what the official measurement is. And yeah, so we get a start point, we'll go a point we're looking at, go out 250 meters, for example, and we can add that to our camera's workspace, and we can chuck that in the endpoint. To make sure it's working, we can go to our debug type and do persistent, compile code, which will make sure it's all suitable for running, and we can now press E, and you'll see a red beam. Where it's coming from the camera, it's a little difficult to see, but if you move to the side, you can see the beam. And if you need this to go further, for example, of using a third-person template, you can change this number here to whatever you need to. And if you press E, you'll see it can now go super far. For example, you can just use 300. Doesn't matter too much as long as it's within range. Now we need an object to be able to interact with. So if we come back to our level, we come to the content drawer, right click again, and we go to a blueprint class this time. We can select a actor, and we can do BP Interactable. The MBP stands for Master Blueprint. So any code that we want to children to inherit, we can use this class. We'll come back to child actors in a sec. So we open this up, we can add a cube component, which will allow us to see it in the world. Shove it up 60 unit or 50 units, sorry. And then we go to the level, content drawer, and we can place our interactable here. Now if we press play, you can see it's here, and we can press E on it, but currently it doesn't do anything because it has no code associated with it. So we go to our interactable, our event graph, and we can go to class settings, implemented interface on the right here, add, and we can type in our interactable. There we go, there it is. So now once we've added that, you'll see on the left hand side under interfaces, we've now got our function. Again, that's from here. Now we can press print, and we can add our player, for example. And at the moment, we'll just get its display name. And if we go up to our cube, press E, it should. Oh, sorry, I have not added it to the line trace here yet. So we get this, and we break our hit result. We can get our hit actor, and we can does implement interface. So this will check to make sure that the object we hit has the interactable interface. We can now collapse that, and we can do a branch. And if we do a AND node, we can do, if it hits something and has the interface, allow the code to fire. So we'll use this true node. And if it doesn't have, if it hits nothing, and the obviously the interactable won't be valid, it will come false. Because we only want code to fire if it's going to be used. Now from the hit actor, we can right click here and go to the interact function. This is a message type, which means it's going from one actor to another. And again with player, we can hook up self. So it's just a reference to the character that we're using. Now if we press play, we can interact. You'll see in the top left there, it'll print the character's name as it's going, pressing E, doing a line trace from the camera, plus 300 units. Out here, it hits the actor. It has the interface, so it can come off true, so then we can interact with it. So we come to the interactable. You see that message is coming from this side, and it's just printing the display name of the character at the moment. So we can delete that so we know it's working, and we can do whatever we like with this now. So for example, we come to our content drawer and we right click and create a child, and we can name this one door. I'll remove the M for my naming convention. We can open this up and we can make this cube go up as if it's a sort of gate, for example. If you press R on your keyboard, you can rescale this. You can also change the scale from here. So I'm just going to make it into a bit more of a door shape. There we are. So if we come to the event graph, and for any child, we just come back here on the left and double click that, and it'll bring the interact into the event graph. So I'm going to grab this cube reference, which is our door, and I'm going to add local offset, and I'll just do, I think 300 is a good, maybe 250. So what it should do now is if we interact with this door, let me put this up here. So we come to the level, and add the door, press play. Now if we interact with it, it should go up a bit. So obviously it's a bit snappy. We're not doing animations here, we're just doing the code. So if we want to add maybe a button for this door, instead of using the door itself, we can come to our, where is it? Our master interactable. This is a good place to do it because you can have, it's just a variable that you don't have to use, but it's one that you would use for multiple actors, so it's a good one just to put in the master. So I'm going to do secondary, again, naming doesn't matter as long as you know what it is, secondary interact. And I'm going to change this variable to a master BP, BP interactable, and a object reference. So for this variable on the top right here, we need to instance edible and we need to expose on spawn. If you hover over these, it'll show you what it does. So instance edible, the variable is publicly edible. So by default, if you have a variable, things cannot change. Say for example, my character will not be able to change the variable of the interactable for a specific interactable. A little complicated, I know, but hopefully that makes sense. And expose on spawn means when the object is placed in the world, you'll be able to see the setting. So for example, if we go to first person and click our door, you should be able to see, let me compile it. Yeah, so down here you'll see secondary interact, and we can change it to our other objects now in the world. So if we make a button, content drawer, right click, we use our master interactable, create a child, and my name is one button. And we place this in the world. Again, it's a little hard to represent because all of them look very similar, but we can delete our master cube. Now we've done associating that code. We open up our button, now we come down here. Cool. So we go to our event graph. Again, it's a new child, so we just go and interact. And what we want to do is use the variable from the master. You won't be able to see it here, but again, in our interactable, secondary interact is here. So you can still use the variables from the parent, secondary, I can't spell, interactable, come down to the bottom, there you go. get secondary interact, which is again a variable from our parent. And what we can do is just go interact from here. So we're literally just passing it on. So again, you can just pass the parent reference through. So now we compile it, press play. If we interact with this button, hold on. Oh, that makes sense. We've got the variable, but we've not assigned the door to it. So we can either come down for the drop down and assign the door, or you can use this little picker tool and click the door. You'll see it assigns the door to it. Now we press play, interact with the door, it goes up. I'll do a different camera angle so we can see it. Again, no animations, but you can see the point. If we want a character to be interactable, come to the content drawer, right click, blueprint class, character, and I'll do master BP character, drag this in the world. He needs a mesh, come to mesh, and we just do the tutorial. Again, nothing pretty, but the code works. Come to the event graph, and just see we haven't got our interactable thing. So we just go to class settings, implement interface, interact. Again, we use that interface, and now we get the option to have a interactable. So we do print, and we do hello. Now we interact with our character and say hello. Oh, he is not got collision. If we come to collision, advanced collision presets. Yeah, see, it's ignoring visibility, which is what type we're using for our line trace. So I'll just do custom for this example. There we go. Now it'll block the line. So E, and now he says hello. So obviously this character, if you add code to him, he can move about or do anything you really need. But the point is we've got our interface that we can hook up to any blueprint and make it a interactable object with this line trace. I hope you guys enjoyed, I hope it was helpful, and hopefully I'll be making a lot more of these. Thank you.